All right, we are going to move on down the list because another team that Eric knows and is invested in. My guy. Let's talk about him. Alex, I'm gonna send it to you first. You told everybody. You've got everybody on board. I love this man, but I still think he could do good by another 2 years. You think he's going?
He's gone. He is good as gone. He is good as gone.
Advertised? Do you think he's going to be as good as advertised this year?
Yes, I think he's going to be as good. Whether the supporting cast necessarily projects that might not be the case because, I mean, you guys lost Antoine Green, Josh Downsley. You guys lost some pieces.
Yep.
So it's just going to be how do those pieces yeah, Drew, no. How do those pieces fit around Drake May? But Drake May is an elite college quarterback. Yep. He has all the tools you want from athleticism, his arm strength, his accuracy is very good. He's got everything. What is this guy doing? He's got everything you could ask for. And I've got you guys just missing out on the playoffs as well. I got you guys with one loss.
Ooh, I like that.
That's going into the conference championship, but
okay. And obviously your twin next to you seems to just love this man. Talk about it. So you've seen him. You've been studying him now. You're into him. You're going to watch these games, Andrew.
Yep.
You want him as your quarterback.
Yep.
Is he as good as advertised, man?
Yes. So the reason why I've been on this train for a while is because, and I could even go pinpoint exactly where in a group chat one time, almost around like 6 months from now, someone was like, oh, Drake May will definitely be in the conversation. And I'm like, who the f- is Drake May? I'm like, is that the dude from North Carolina? Then I start watching the tape and I'm like, oh, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. And then I start doing my own like breakdowns where I'm like, okay, I need to see him do certain things in certain places. So of course, me being in Canada, I have to go search all these different highlights on all these different pages that are like, accept this, pay for this. And I'm like, ugh. So $100 later, inevitably, I got to see the whole highlight package that I wanted to. And what I saw is, obviously, when Todd Bowles is not the head coach, that if the Buccaneers were to have the season that I may predict, everybody will have to check in next Sunday or Monday, whatever it is. We'll talk about that later. But the Buccaneers, with the way that their offense is set up and the targets that they have and the pieces that they have, is probably, honestly, out of all the places in the NFL, maybe besides Minnesota, I think that's probably the best place for him to go land.
No, do not speak Drake May to Minnesota. Do not do that.
I know you hate that.
Shut your mouth. You shut your mouth.
Alex is talking about that, and he doesn't want to hear it because he knows that he's like, But if the Buccaneers were to get, you're talking about at least 3 years of this guy's development with two of the best wide receivers that you could ask for in the NFL right away. And not only that, they are the best wide receivers to have because they will be willing to do things contractually to keep things around if he's playing good. They've already shown that. The other side of it is this guy is tall. He's got the build, and his scramble ability only comes when is necessary. And to top it all off, when in a couple of plays, I think there was like 5 or 6 that I saw, when they actually planned for him to run, he sold staying in that pocket so good, like old school Tim Tebow did in college. And that is what got me thinking, okay, if we are available and he's available, that is a match made in heaven. Because as ownership, as everything like that, everyone knows the Buccaneers are probably going to go and build a new stadium in about 6 years anyway. So why not have the ability to go and do that while you have the young quarterback already in hand? I think Drake May going to the Buccaneers is the best scenario because he's coming out this year. I agree with Alex. He's the best quarterback prospect in this draft class. And I say that only because of the match. Caleb is really damn good. But Caleb can't go to certain teams and expect greatness out of him. Whereas I think Drake could go to some of these bad teams and it would take a bit, but they would get better because of his arm strength. Caleb is amazing. Caleb's a playmaker and stuff like that, but Caleb needs someone like Andy Reid or Jim to come out of college and go to a team and they combine themselves for him to be the Patrick Mahomes that he's going to be. I personally believe. Drake just needs to have a very good coach and a very good offensive coordinator, and he'll be one of the best to ever play.
I respect it. I absolutely respect it. I love that everybody is talking about my North Carolina quarterback. And after this NFL season, I think a lot more people are going to talk about another North Carolina quarterback, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But I like that we had the two positives. Now I would like to go down to the other side because both of these guys represent teams that have not only given Drake May trouble, but have beaten him. Okay? So talk to me. Look, this is what I want to see because I'm in the middle. I love the guy, but I'm like, dude, let's pump our brakes. All right? So, guys, I mean, what are your thoughts? You guys were able to get it done and beat this guy. Is he as solid as advertised?
First, I want to say, is my mic clear?
Yes.
Is it clear? It's crispy?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm glad you admitted to that. I'm glad you finally
I did. It's a new year. I'm
Embrace
ready to cleanse from last year.
embrace the loss that you started.
Oh.
But I'll honestly say I have, like, he could be good as advertised. I'm not going to doubt it. Like, I'm not going to let a loss against us dictate how I feel about a quarterback.
Well, and like,
because like a lot of great quarterbacks in the draft, a lot of good quarterbacks in the draft have faced losses. It's all about how you bounce back the following year. So this is probably the year that all the doubts they had about him, he goes and shows and proves them wrong. Because quarterbacks like that use that as ammo next season's bulletin material on how they ended the last season and how they move forward the following season. Because no matter what happens, whatever happened last year, no quarterbacks are like they'll probably use that as fuel, but they're more focused on the present because no matter what happens, it's all about what happens this season when it goes to opposite to the draft. What really dictates anything?
What have you done for me lately? Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna come to you real quick, Eric. But first and foremost, let's give love to Will because Will's out here saying, "Show me something against the SEC." We are playing these damn Gamecocks next week. Oh my God.
I would like to bring up, though, that Josh Allen is an elite quarterback who never actually got to face real talent and was a top 15 quarterback that went. And it just so happened that they gave him a good head coach and a very good offensive coordinator. And look what happened.
Yep.
Do you know what's crazy? Guess who Josh Allen also lost to?
Ooh. Also, by the way, it was a Canadian that made Josh Allen the best, just to let you all know.
Yep. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Eric, what's your thoughts, man?
So, no, I'm just playing. So here's the thing. I kind of take what Alex said, and I think I'm on the same page as him. I love Drake May. I do not necessarily love Drake May in college this season, and that's not based on him. And I think he's going to have a great season for a quarterback, no matter what. I'm just not sold that North Carolina is going to support him the way that way he needs to be. So 100%, just like the other gentleman said, I think for me, he's the number one quarterback coming in the draft. I like Caleb Williams. He's a star. I just feel like maybe the floor is higher for Drake May. The ceiling is higher for Caleb Williams, but there's less risk factor, I would think. But specifically going back to the game last year, I don't remember for sure, but I feel like when I was watching that game, I was sending you some messages going, "Holy crap, this kid is good," because we were all over him. We were in his face the whole time, and he was still throwing beautiful balls. It was really impressive, and he was taking shot after shot after shot, but he was still on the money. Guys weren't helping him out. They were even. I don't think Josh Downs had a very good day that day, if I recall. So yeah, man, I walked away sometimes it's not what you do in the games as far as the numbers at the end or who you beat or something like that. Sometimes it's just how you stand in there and you compete. And he didn't get shaken at all.
Yeah.
And
you know what the best part is? I don't want to cut you off.
no, you're good. Go for it.
So while I was talking about, I'm not sure if I can be able to share my screen on here. Can I?
Yeah, I think you should be able to.
Let me see.
Just go to the present option there.
Here it is. You see it now?
Yep. Here we go.
So pull up Josh Allen's. If you look at Josh Allen's stats, look what he had: 9 for 24, 64 yards. And if I count. Don't check me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that the same year he went to the draft? And wasn't he
Yes, he went the next offseason. Yeah.
And if you look at Drake May, yeah, he had bad stats, but they're not going to let the games that happened against like certain teams dictate it. It's all about how you finish, because that was like probably like what is like second to third bad game that year, probably like second worst game he had, and look where he got.
Well, we're not holding it against Bo Nix in his Heisman campaign this year.
See, I'm not gonna. Me and Bo Nix are like teeter-totter. Like Bo Nix, I'm not gonna say like, as Alex likes to say, I always like to talk bad about my team, mostly because the quarterback options they give us, it never goes well for us. Like ever since Mariota, we've hit a decline because we had what was his name, Vernon Adams.
Yeah,
like
CFL stud.
Like he was good for us. It's just certain moments he didn't clutch in certain games, like what NFL scouts when they go to like the NFL or they pre-draft, they look for, because they look for the big moment games or where they fit. But then again, like when they look at games like Oregon, we weren't really a top factor that year, so they never really they looked past that game, and because it was like an early game for them that year. So if Drake May, let's just say worst case scenario, Sean, like he has a bad game, like the first or second game, it all matters how he finishes, how he works with that offense, and how he pushes back because there probably was a lot of talk last year in this offseason about how he finished off in the bowl game against us, but that just adds fuel. Like I can see him having a bounce back year. He may have some hiccups here and there, but look at Tua. He had hiccups towards like at the end of the year against Auburn, and he went to like what, top 15, 10 in the draft,
went 6th overall, 5th overall.
Situations like that, I could see Drake May being around top 5, depending on who's drafting and what their team needs are. Because whoever
he's going top 5, yeah.
Yeah, because if a team needs a quarterback, they're gonna get him first off the board. I already know it. Yep. Like there's no quarterback like right now. Like he has that dog in him, in my honest opinion. Like, because look against us, we had the lead against you guys, right? And he brought the game back closer. Granted, like the only reason why you guys did beat you, I'll honestly admit it, it was the clock time. Like if you look at how much time was on that clock, there's only so much you could do in that situation. So I'll give you your credit. Like you guys could have easily beat us if you had at least probably like 60 seconds on that clock. Like I'll give you guys the credit. Like I'll wholeheartedly admit it. You guys could have beat us if you had the time on your side, because you can't really do much in that situation besides kick that field goal or go for it and just say Hail Mary. He's muted.
Well, yeah, I think you're muted.
I've been waiting all off season to hear you say that. Thank you so much. Makes me feel so much better.
I'll admit when I'm wrong, and I'll know when I'm right. Like that, if y'all had the clock on your time on your side, you can even ask Alex. Even he admitted to it. If they had more time on that clock, it would have been a whole different ball game in that situation.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like Drake May, like
you give him an extra 10 seconds, and they probably win that game. Honestly,
and look,
like if you bash a quarterback in that situation, like any NFL quarterback with that kind of time, like you can only do so much in that situation.
Right.
Like with that amount of yards you had to gain to get a touchdown in that time, like no NFL scout's gonna like put that against you. Like it's the fact that you guys got that close to the end zone to win the game.
Yeah. Well, and I put Drake May's numbers in the the private chat for the 2 games we're talking about him struggling.
Yeah.
He combined in those 2 games combined, he's 35 of 67 for 507 yards, 8 touchdowns, no picks.
0. Goose egg.
Like, and it's one of those things where, like, I mean, you could say could have, would have, should have, but like, that's not the case in this situation. Like, the fact that any quarterback can lead their team down that far down the field, like even the coaches were saying, like, he was telling the coaches that, like, I want to go for it because, like, NFL scouts look for that. A quarterback that wants, like, he has a dog in him. He wanted to go for it on 4th down.
Yes.
Like that, like any NFL team would want a quarterback that's like that goes for it, like risks it when it need be. Like, to hell with a field goal, like you go for it on 4th down and see where you get with it.
The funny part about it is, at the end of the day, he's actually like the lesser of the talented kids. Like, his dad was a all-star quarterback at UNC. His sister, his older sister is like
Drake's
college. Yeah, Drake. Yeah, his older sister, college baseball player. He has an older brother, and then he has another older brother, Luke May, that played for North Carolina, the basketball team, and hit like the game winner against Kentucky.
Yeah.
Drake is the baby. He's always talks about he's just trying to get on level with those guys. You know what I mean? All of them are collegiate stars. So I look, I love him. I'm not taking anything away from my guy. I'm really trying to find a reason to keep him because I don't want him to leave. But
now I just have a quick thing, just because we were on that conversation about like dogs and stuff like that. Alec, that is Troy Franklin behind you, correct?
Yes.
That you want to talk about dog. Okay. The funny thing about him,
I'll wholeheartedly say that's the fuel in our offense. Like, he is a great receiver.
The first Madden franchise I did, obviously, like on the Bucs, I relocated. Not doing that anymore. Okay, this sucks. But the first combination I did, I was like Drake May and Troy Franklin, because all the stats that I've seen and stuff is Drake has got like the dog in him, like we've been talking about, and I've known that for a bit. That's why I like him. And Alec knows the other quarterback that if we don't get Drake, I'm okay to wait another year because he got major dog in him, and I like that guy too. Mm-hmm. But out of all these wide receivers, Marvin Harrison already knows that he's going, and he's got dog in him because it's in his blood. Troy has earned every aspect to be called a dog in the college football. If there is one wide receiver that I want on my team, for not only possession plays, for not only being in the slot, and not only when something goes wrong in the middle of camp or in the middle of the game, the guy who's going to be in the middle of that freaking oh my God, I want Troy Franklin. He is one of my favorite wide receivers in this whole entire draft class. The dog in Troy Franklin.
The reason why I like Troy Franklin is because I think it was back in 2014, we had a former receiver, Devin Allen, who I like. For a year, like the time we had him, he was like that hybrid receiver. He had the speed because he also ran track, so he had that speed for him. Mm-hmm. And I have not seen a single receiver we've had that got me like where the game's on the line and they go for a 1st down. Then I would not trust anybody else on that team to have the ball in their hands than Troy Franklin. Like, he's my favorite player on that team is Troy Franklin. Like, yeah, we have our as Oregon always does, they always get their Samoans on defense, which I'm jealous. I'm jealous of that. Alex has like most of the players that we've went to the draft. Like they have Penei Sewell, which I'm jealous.
Thank you very much.
That man is a dog.
And that was the one guy I wanted in that draft class. I was like, we can trade the rest of our picks. Give me Penei. That just walk away.
And then they have, which everybody's gonna say like, oh, he doesn't do much for the team. But if you watch Lions preseason, Chase Cota, another one I like.
I hope he makes the roster, man. He might have solidified his spot there.
If Rodriguez made the roster last year,
I'll make the statement right now. Every NFL team in the draft, you are absolutely dumb for passing on Chase Cota. Like, he is the most slept on undrafted player. Like, I don't say much about my Oregon players because like some of them like I don't see making far in the NFL. But Penei Sewell was one of them. We had
Alex knew that for a while.
Yep.
There was another one. Like they were brothers. I think it's Sewell's brother.
Yeah. Noah.
Oh yeah.
Noah Sewell.
Noah.
Yeah, Noah
right?
Sewell. Yeah.
He's
He
not.
ended
I
up
think
in Chicago, right?
he played. I think he
so.
played for I think he played for Utah State, if I remember.
Noah?
So that's so Noah Sewell's in the NFL now. Nephi Sewell plays for Utah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
Like their bloodline is just that. You were talking about dog. The Sewell family bloodline is just.
Oh yes.
I do not put no doubt towards that. Like whatever they're feeding them when they were growing up, that they just feed dog in there.
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh, yeah. The dog.
Like,
and look.
Like think about it, Sean. If say for instance, right, this is a long shot because depending on how the Commanders fall, you
He
already
should
know
have been Nathan.
this receiver right here, Terry McLaurin's clone. I don't care what anybody says.
That's a
Terry McLaurin's
very-
clone.
I like that.
That's a spot on call.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I like that.